Hello friends, from the Skandia Cinema in Stockholm, we welcome you to this international Stockholm Film Festival.
Jag heter Gitsteiner, jag är festivalchef och vi har nu jobbat ett helt år för att presentera det allra bästa programmet vi någonsin kunde finna av alla filmer över hela världen. Vi har sett 4000 filmer för att plocka ut ett program på 150 filmer från 60 olika länder. 100 filmer, hon har en Onsdag, en Tony. Hon har gjort filmer med allt från Julia och Mission Impossible var hennes senaste film. Och nu har hon blivit regissör vid 80 års ålder. Och det fantastiska är att hon har gjort en film om en fråga som engagerar mig, nämligen filmfotografen Dan Laustsen som har gjort de här fantastiska bilderna. Så en varm applåd till Dan!
I think, and then we did Crimson Peak years ago, and then we did this one now. And I'm very proud to be here to present the movie because I think it's a fantastic love story.
Yeah, when I saw the film at work premiere in Venice, I was blown away of Då är ni med oss nu då? Då inviger vi den 28 internationella
filmfestival i Stockholm.
Ja! Efter filmen så kommer vi träffa dig igen då.
Det gläder mig riktigt mycket.
Ja. Då kommer vi ha ett face-to-face på engelska. Så skynda inte allt för mycket utan stanna på det för det tror jag blir bra. Och efteråt så har vi vår öppningsfest på Hobo som ni alla är välkomna till. Och för de första 150 så bjuder vi på dryck. Så ha en fantastisk kväll.
Jag hoppas att ni tycker det.
Den här gentlemannen är faktiskt dansk, men eftersom vi befinner oss så pass långt norrut så talar vi engelska och någon skulle ha problem att förstå. So it is. Ellers så kunne vi sige noget om, at du begyndte i 1977. I think we have a hit here. Do you think so?
I love the movie. I think it's an amazing love story, and I just think it's a hit. Yeah. Hopefully, it's a hit.
I just said that you started in the 70s as a cameraman in Danish productions. You have been doing many films through the years. Among them, you have worked with Søren Kragh Jacobsen many times.
That's correct.
Wonderful children's film called Gummitarsan, which still is being shown and loved. You shot Miércoles by Åke Sandgren
with a Swedish director.
Which was almost called like a Scandinavian Steven Spielberg type of film at the time. You shot a film that kind of started the whole Danish phenomenon of modern cinema, Nattevakten, The Night Watch, which also shot the American version later on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been doing you've had some success around the films that you made. Can you smell it sometimes that this is going to be something extra?
Unfortunately not, you know. When you're reading a screenplay, like this screenplay, you can just read it so interesting. It's a really fantastic story. But it's hard to tell. Nobody knows if it's a good movie before you see that. But The Night Watch you talked about before was my way into Guillermo del Toro, because after Night Watch I shot Mimic with him in Canada, and that was just right after Night Watch, and that was with the Weinstein brothers.
You've shot 3 films now with Guillermo?
Yeah, this is the third one. I shot Mimic in 97, I think it was, and then I shot Crimson Peak for some years ago, and then we shot this one for 1.5 years ago. And this one was absolutely the best screenplay, you know, I've ever read. So that's it's a fantastic story. I love it very much.
It's kind of interesting that you come from this, in a way, Scandinavian, very naturalistic kind of cinema that was, in the 60s and the 70s. In Sweden we had Bo Widerberg. In Denmark we had people like Søren Krogh Jacobsen, for example. And now you make something that is totally, it's very, very unnaturalistic in many ways. It's fairy tale-like, and you kind of almost now you made also The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, for example, among other titles. Have you become kind of a specialist in this kind of fantastic images?
I don't think so, but you know, it's just, you know, I think it's so fantastic because I think this movie is like a real movie-making film, you know. It's like a fancy story, but it's a very strong love story as well. And you know, you just have to play and tell the story with the lighting and the camera angles and the costumes and the set designs. I think this is like when everything is coming together on the same planet, on the same movie. And for me, it's just, that's really movie-making. It's classic movie-making when it's the best.
You say "we" several times. It feels like he's quite a, what do you say, a democratic film director. Does he listen to your advice a lot?
Yeah, I think he does, you know. He's a director. It's his ideas, you know. He knows exactly which way he wants to do. But, you know, of course, he wants to have our input, you know, my input, the production designer, the makeup and hair and costumes. But we are talking about it a lot. We have a lot of discussions about colors, you know, and colors on walls and colors on makeup and colors on lights and camera angles. It's not like he doesn't know where he wants to go, because you know that's very precise, but he likes to have the inputs. That's the reason he's putting a bunch of people together to help him out. He's not like, I want to have it exactly like that. But he knows exactly where he wants to go, but it's just a cooperation between a lot of people. And I think that's the beauty about movie making, is like it's a lot of people working together in a very close relationship for some years or months. But he's a very precise director. He knows exactly where he wants to go. And that's fantastic as a DP, as a cinematographer, because it gives you a lot of options to help the director out to tell the story.
The films, Crimson Peak and this one especially, they look like something from the 40s. I'm thinking of like some of the Hitchcock films like Rebecca, that kind of gothic feel in Crimson Peak, for example. And again, here we have this amazing, it looks like even it could be one of the films screened in the cinema that she has as her neighbor, which looks a little like this cinema, by the way. Does he show you old films and say, I would like it to look like this?
No, we never see movies together, more or less. You know, he has a concept. He's always working with concept artists. You know, they're making some drawings about the set and costumes and color palettes. You know, the color palette is very important for him. But first time I heard about this movie, the movie should have been in black and white. And as all cinematographers in the world, you know, like, oh, shooting a movie in black and white is everybody's dream. So I was very excited about that. But it's very hard to finance black and white movies because nobody wants to pay for it. So the studio said, you know, you have to do in color, and so we did in color, and then we talked about we wanted to go more blue-greens comparing to Crimson Peak. It was a very long movie. And then we wanted to have all the actors to look like 50s or 60s Hollywood stars. You know, Sally has to look amazing in all the shots. So we spent some time to light her like, so she looks like a princess in all the shots. And I think that's one of the reasons you have this feeling about it's the 60 movies, because we spend a lot of time to do it artificial but very beautiful.
Let's see what happens at the Oscars. I think we may see you there. I'm crossing a finger and I'm betting 100 kroner.
Okay, so
Danish. Let's do that. Any other questions?
Let's go in the back.
Hi. What scene is your favorite? Which one?
I think my favorite scene is first time they're falling in love, they really feel like falling in love in the bathroom. I think it's like story-wise and look-wise, I very love that warm look. Because we changed the colors. The color in the movie was like steel blue greens in her apartment all the time until they're falling in love in the bathroom. And you know, she's touching him and she's touching her, and she walks out of the door and go to her bed and figure out, you know, let me go back to the bathroom. I think that sequence is so romantic and beautiful. So I think that's my favorite scene, because it's so, yeah, it's just lovely.
Could we, I must say that several of the films that has your name as the DP are very beautiful. Is that kind of your identity? Your neighbor does a film called Mifune, and he told me that he used Anthony Mantle, who is also a famous filmmaker, because you refused to shoot it. Is this correct, or you didn't want to?
I didn't want to shoot Dogma because I don't like this kind of, you know, when especially I would say. Today it could be fun to do it maybe, just for the fun of it, but in those days I didn't like to do it because I think it was so unartistic. As I said before, I think telling the story with the camera is like painting with light, and I think that's a really, really important part of movie making, from my point of view.
Will you ever direct your own film?
Ever, never. I'm not a director, I'm a cinematographer, and I love what I'm doing, and I love to help the directors, you know, but no, I will never be a director. I think a director is the worst and the best job on the planet, because they take all the blames and they take all the fames, but they take all the stress as well. It's so difficult to be a film director. And I think we have to respect those guys and girls so much, because it's really, really tough work. But never me.
I think that was a perfect ending. Dan Laustsen, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I hope you come back. Say that just follow your guts and your hearts, you know. I think it's important. And of course, because it's so difficult, there's so many inputs right now. See every day.
Jag har också en liten pen.
Thank you very much. Thank you.